Welcome back to No Bias Hoops. Today, we're going to be talking about why the NBA hates the Detroit Pistons. The draft lottery just happened, and the Detroit Pistons were the worst team in the league again, yet they dropped to pick 5 again, the same as last year. However, this might be a curse and a blessing. Curse or a blessing. Last year, with the 5th overall pick, they took Ausar Thompson, who I think they would take again. It was an interesting pick at the time, letting Cam Whitmore and other guys go and pick Ausar Thompson. But it has paid off, as he's been a really good player. However, if they were to have gotten, say, pick 3 or pick 2, I imagine they would have taken Scoot Henderson, and that would not really have been a smart pick. So that could be good, but it's just strange that they dropped to 5 again. There's only like a pretty low % chance that happens. And so where did the Pistons go from here? They've had horrible years of drafting. There are only 3 good draft picks. I mean, I could be wrong. I might be forgetting something, but Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, and Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren was a 2nd-round pick, I believe, so that's a huge pickup. Jaden Ivey was pick 4, Cade Cunningham pick 1. So those were the main picks, and that's your core going forward. They also picked up Simone Fontecchio for a 2nd-round pick. Really good trade for them. Since they traded for him, he was averaging 20 points per game. He's 28. He's a restricted free agent, I think. So we'll see what they do with him. And they have 2 ways to go here. They could be bad another year, let their fan base hate them even more, and just instill that losing culture. Or they can go sign Tobias Harris, trade for like Chris Middleton, Zach LaVine. I don't know. Just trade for someone. Maybe give DeMar DeRozan a max contract. That might not be too smart, but at the end of the day, it could be interesting. DeMar DeRozan having his own team away from toxic Chicago. I guess I shouldn't say toxic. They weren't really that bad to him, but to be honest, I'm all for any way DeMar to get out of Chicago. You can watch my video about why the Bulls need to let him go on No Bias Hoops. But the Pistons' 3rd and final route is this. They trade the 5th overall pick and go higher than Zach LaVine. They go with Brandon Ingram. They go with maybe I'm trying to think of another good fit, maybe, alongside Cade. Because if they got Cade a 2nd guy, I think they could easily take the Hawks or the Bulls spots as that 9 or 10 seed. Maybe even move up to 8 seed, depending on what happens with Miami or Philadelphia or Cleveland. But, what if they got either Brandon Ingram or maybe one of the Clippers trio, Paul George? Because the Sixers have the money for Paul George, but if Paul George for some reason can't get to the Sixers, doesn't want to go back to the Clippers, and the Pistons are the only team to offer him a max contract, I don't know. If I'm Paul George, maybe I do that. I don't know. The Pistons have just really... They've been in a rebuild for a very long time, and they need to kind of do what the Rockets did, where you add a little bit, get a little better, start that winning culture, and then you keep developing your guys, because they really had kind of the same situation. They had Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, and Jabari Smith Jr. That's kind of a similar thing with Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, and Jalen Duren. So you have your young guys, you add some better players, make a play-in push, and then you go from there. The Rockets were lucky enough to have the 4th overall pick still, jump in the lottery. And yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the year, I made a video about why the Rockets made, like, bad decisions, why it wasn't a good idea for them to do what they did. And I was wrong. I wasn't entirely wrong. Like, I still don't think they should have signed Dylan Brooks. I think they still would have been just as good, and they wouldn't be tied up in that money of a player that really didn't have great a season. It was a fine season for him. But what I was saying is that, like, you don't have a franchise player and you're going to just get a mediocre pick. But they ended up getting a good pick anyways. And in a draft like this, I feel like you can hit anywhere, but you can also miss anywhere. And the Pistons don't have that franchise player. Cade Cunningham's good. I think he'll get an all-star. But I don't think he's a franchise guy. Maybe he will be. Maybe he'll really have a great year if he has a good team around him. But I don't think I've seen enough of Cade to really say that he's a franchise guy. So that's the two sides of it. It's a really good draft. So taking one more year, if you're a Pistons fan, that might sound horrible for you. But at the same time, it kind of depends. And the Pistons have a decision to make, just like a lot of teams this offseason. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, along with the Atlanta Hawks, Toronto Raptors, Spurs. I just made a bunch of banger videos. They're on my channel. Check them out, subscribe, and see you next time on No Bias Hoops.